Speaking of novels, here are the 3x5, here are the index cards I've started to put my ideas on. Right now, my brain's not quite sharp enough to really do any real writing or even editing, but I've started letting these ferment for when I'm feeling better. Well, that's going to be reversed for you to see. The deal is one day, one project. The objective is to finish and make ready for sharing and publication while avoiding detours, unuseful digressions, or starting completely new projects. Result, less raw, more ready, and good feeling in my heart. The first one is the story of Palau, and this you've seen up on the board on my wall with a collage, but this is maybe my finest, most fulfilling adventure, where I went to the small island of Peleliu, Palau, on the edge of nowhere, after hopscotching my way around on ferries and boats and float planes and going completely rogue, I guess. The next one is the Belize story. This one you probably know is when I had sold one of my internet companies in 2000. The acquiring company turned out to be evil. They seemed nice before the paper was signed, but they wanted me to take a drug test. Called me in the office. VP HR flew up from California, and we heard you were smoking marijuana at the company golf tournament. Well, no shit, right? But I lawyered up and fought back and split town to let the process go, and I went to an island called Key Cocker that had just had a big hurricane, and I found a little cabin to rent for $8 a night, and I just sort of hunkered down and went local for a couple weeks. I had a broken wrist at the time, too. What's up with me and hospital visits? The next one, I did a dictation of this, but I'm not sure how, I haven't read it back, but this was me and my buddy Marty Kendall going down a canyon in southern Utah and getting caught in a flash flood and having to jump off this waterfall, and there's straight canyon walls up either side, and it was hardcore. And then we finally had to throw our packs down and then dive down and grab them, haul them up, and then took a bunch of pain pills and fell asleep by the fire and awoke with my clothes on fire. The next morning our boots were melted, and we still had a 2-day hike that we did in one day, marching out of there. And then we had no car at the end. We had to hitchhike, and we were like tore up vagabonds. Ended up in a little town and camped in behind like some tasty freeze in some town there. Next one is the story of Yap. Yap is an island near Palau, relatively speaking, where they use giant stone money. The women are bare-breasted. All the land is run by tribal chiefs, and I had a real powerful experience there because when I started to dictate this one, so we'll see if it gives me some framework. Because I speak Japanese, I could speak with the old-timers rather than having to have a middle ground with the young folks. Next one is the story of Taos, New Mexico, which is, I was on a lost summer when I was 21, cruising around my Volkswagen bus all around western United States, and me and this crazy Pakistani guy I was traveling with, we inadvertently were camped out on an Indian reservation, and two dudes hopped in the back, pulled the gun, and we had to drive through the forest and the desert and end up at their house, and they got out big automatic rifles and then trout and rabbit stew and shot at us. It was a very strange night. The social media kung fu, which you're well familiar with. I've been compiling the notes that folks took from the day-long session. I have the audio from that. I haven't listened back to it at all. Fuck Stats Make Art is dying to be made into a book. I have all the art and I have all the dialogue. Another cousin of that is Art and Tech, our old pals. The Are You Worthy? Greeks to Geeks. You've probably seen this. There's two different talks. I'm going to kind of combine them and make another creativity type thing. Some framing and picture projects. Let's see. It's a little to-do list. Boxes from liquor store. Did that today. Start with the studio, use what can be used, consolidate and reduce. Give away stuff, garage sale, hire truck. I'm gonna get rid of a whole bunch of my books and put a little paper inside of them. Liberated Literature is the name of this project, where people can then put their name. It's basically read it, sign it, share it. You write your name, maybe some comments where you found it or something, and then you just hand it off to someone else. Maybe there'll be a hashtag, and you can track these books going around the world. It's about organizing my studio and using my binders, art supplies and kits. I've got some binders out here I'm sorting through. See, I've kind of kept every little paper about myself, newspaper clippings, report cards, and everything ever since I was a kid. It's kind of manic, but it'll make a great documentary one day. And I have these variety of these poetry chapbooks. I've sort of done some rough versions of to share with friends. Depth Perception is one, and then some haikus, and just little. And those deserve to be finished and put out there. This is more about self-publication and writerly and all that stuff, and learning about that. Something about exercise. Let's see. Lounging on beach. Haven't done that. Going to the pool. No. Walking every once in a while. Anyway, that's what I'm working on. I also just glued the hand back onto this statue. I've been hauling this guy around since Hawaii when I was 13 or 14, and his hand had fallen off, but I found the right kind of glue, and today was the day his hand was fixed. I think it's symbolic somehow. And also I found this belt buckle from when I was 11 years old going to scout camp, and this medallion in the middle is two-sided, and I probably in my youth couldn't decide which side to put forward, but now I've just glued that down, so I got a cool little belt buckle. Now I need a belt to put it on. Inside of my binders, I also have all my ribbons from winning the school science fair a bunch of times, too. It's that kind of stuff. So, first I'm going to meditate a little bit. And then keep futzing along with my projects. I love a good craft project, and I really enjoy making hand-bound notebooks. And I've always enjoyed doing this because I've always liked to kind of produce my crafts analog. All my projects start with pen and ink somewhere in a book. And years ago I learned how to do kind of a Japanese-style binding technique, which I remixed. And while I've been sequestered down here in PL, that's 2 words, Washington, I made a new batch, 6 of them. And they're pretty labor intensive, but I want to kind of, show you kind of what goes into them. So, let's grab this one here. My very first one started with when I made these cover art of my big drawing and art book. And I made a bunch of these on a letterpress, the former state of Washington letterpress machine. And then, let's see what I can do here. Then they got board games as the backing boards, and I found a board game called Therapy, which is pretty appropriate for me right now. And I love the way that this green hemp paper matched the green squares on the board. And sometimes I even get a little surprise on the back, so I can make a little inscription, so each one of these will get signed over to someone with by use of this fountain pen. And that's a piece of paper from Japan that I've held on to for years. And on this you can see how the stitching work goes. Kinda, and then I put another little binding on the edge to clean it up, and then there's another piece of the board game there to kind of create the hinge. So when you open it up, voila, you get a nice clean hinge there, and you can go about your work. Okay, let's take a look at a few others of these. This one here, I used a sample pack of pure hemp paper of all kinds of different cardstocks and so on that I've had for years. And I left a little information about each of the paper sheets available, mixed in a few others, and put a little thing here, a little interdisciplinary message of Van Gogh's notebooks, and someone making a painting of Van Gogh in a new style. Everything gets a little something neat. Therapy on the back, so I guess you can call this the Therapy series, and a little bit of Chinese New Year's paper to kind of tidy up that edge there to go along with the binding. Alright, Now this one here, it's a little bit more of a vertical layout. I'll turn it here so you can see it. And it features a silkscreen my mom made at community college in 1992 from Aspen Grove. And most of them I put my little stamps in. I have a little ink stamp that I put in. And this I left a little flap over to kind of protect it. So when you're out there doing your work, and again, this is another one part of the therapy series. But this is the blue one, because blues and grays all kind of goes together, right? Then here's another one with kind of a same kind of layout. This one's a big, thick one laden down with paper. Therapy on the back. And then here's a set both with some other silk screens my mom made. And this one has a whole bunch of different stuff, 4 or 5 each of the same things for my nieces and nephews to color. And my mom can play along with their own, just a bigger version, which has a special little crutch on the back because there was a bend in the board. So that's kind of how it works. I use the heck out of these notebooks myself, and well, let's face it, I just like doing an arts and crafts project. Enjoy.
It's Baby Big Mouth! Surprise! It's a Baby Big Mouth Surprise Egg Learn-A-Word. Having fun with arts and crafts. C. L. A. Y. And what's that spell? Clay. C. L. A. Y. Clay. Now for a spelling surprise. Surprise! Disney Tars! Shake, shake, shake. Disney Pixar Cars Special 3D Edition. Who do you think it is? I thought so. It's Tomater. And now, a spelling celebration. Thanks for cracking us up. Bye-bye. It's Baby Big Mouth. Subscribe for surprises! Surprise! It's a surprise party with colorful ooze! So let's see what putty colors we have and see what color wins. Ready? Purple!
The arts and crafts movement was a reaction to the poor quality design during the Industrial Revolution. The following images are from the Great Exhibition in the Crystal Palace in London in 1851. This exposition was the brainchild of Prince Albert and celebrated industry and exhibited the latest technology. What it didn't show was the darker side of industrialization. The arts and crafts advocates criticized factory production as machines replaced workers. They believed that the growth of industry had destroyed traditional skills and removed the pride a craftsman could find in his work. Some members of the movement formed themselves into craft guilds based on medieval examples in order to encourage high standards of design and provide a supportive working environment. The Gothic revival also had a strong impact on the arts and crafts style. The interest in all things medieval and the use of strong forms and colors appealed to artists. Straightforward use of material, structure, and function, promoted by A.W.N. Pugin, were shared principles of the arts and crafts movement.
Here's a stormy nighttime seacoast near Sitges, Spain. This one's a back garden patio in Portugal. Here's a hookah market in Granada, Spain. This one you've seen. It needs a little bit of work. It's from Belize. This one's coming up soon. Reading the newspaper about John Paul II dying while in Belgium. A seascape from Mexico that had to get torn off its frame when last time I got sick. Oh, one more. Here's a sunny day seascape from the Spanish Riviera.